hope you are excited as today is the last session of our event. Till now, we have seen lots of interesting concepts ranging from photo collage to face detection. And now we are back with another fascinating project which shall include all the preliminary concepts covered so far. So get ready with your keyboards and especially your caffeine. Let us welcome our speakers for today.
Our first speaker of the evening is someone who follows both her intuitions and passion with perfect poise. Her primary work includes co-programming and development in fields of web and software, AI/ML, and data science. She has the courage of a true leader and understands the minute intricacies of working as a team. Yes, we are talking about Yukti Singh, outreach team lead of AI Club, and above all, one of our event leads for CVV.
The other speaker we have is a multi-talented person. He is someone who is as good a singer as a coder, and not only a coder, he is a teacher and a leader too. His works and projects range from IEEE's website to Air Canvas, and knows numerous languages, frameworks, and data.
Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, you are muted.
Oh, thank you so much for telling me I didn't know. The other speaker we have is a multi-talented person. He is someone who is as good a singer as a coder. And not only a coder, but he is a teacher and leader too. His works and projects range from IEEE's website to Air Canvas and knows numerous languages, framework, and databases. In his own word, he is guided by his passion for coding. You all have met him last week too, during the Kahoot session. Any guesses? He is the technical lead of AI Club. Yes, I'm talking about Abir Datta.
So without further delay, let's get this session started.
Okay, thank you, Argesh, and thank you, Anushka, for lovely introduction. And I guess we should get going. But before we go forth, I would firstly like to thank all the ones who have waited so long throughout 2 weeks, and yet they are ready to join our final session of this event, and that's really commendable. The amount of interest you have shown towards computer vision, the amount of interest and belief that you have shown towards our AI Club, it's really commendable. So thank you all for joining. Before beginning of what our plans are today, I would firstly like to show you what we are going to do today by showing the output that we'll receive. So for the first thing, for starters, let's just see what output we are going to see today. Throughout this session, we'll understand what it is, we'll code it, we'll prepare it till the end of the session. But what it is, let's just see that once. I hope my screen's visible.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see the output first. This is the code that we'll be working on. We'll first understand what is this. First, we'll understand the details and intricacies about the same, and then we'll go forth with the coding part. But let's see what the output gives us. Why are we going with this project? What it is actually. So basically, these are the three windows. I hope it's visible. So it's doing something. It is allowing us to wave our hands and it's detecting. We can clear it. We have the other colors. Whatever color we want to choose, we are just putting the marker there, and then it's just allowing us to draw it. This is the main project that we are going to work on. So the very first thing that I want to ask each one of you is that as we have been following our sessions, you have been going through these. I want to ask you, what concepts do you think have been applied that you have been learned till now? You have learned few concepts throughout the 2 weeks. What are the concepts that you think might be integrated into this project of ours? Till then, Yukti will be sharing her screen and she'll be going forth. I want you all to put it in the chat box. What concepts do you think that we are going to cover using this, or while we are creating this? What are the concepts that we'll be covering? The ones that you have gone through so far. Put it into the chat box. By the time Yukti will be sharing her screen, we'll start the presentation. Okay, someone's coming up with something. Video capture using CV2. Good. Good one, Pratham. What else? because there are multiple concepts that we are going to discuss. So I will just like you to have a clear outlook of the same, that you have complete clear vision what are we going to cover. So any more guesses? Like,
Yeah, is the screen Abir?
yes, it's visible, Yukti. Just asking them if they are having
Yeah,
any
guys.
guesses. Video capture, drawing lines, rectangles, inserting text, object recognition. That's good. That's really impressive.
Yeah, a lot.
Okay, so I guess most of you have got the idea because the answer is correct, and we'll be going stepwise with these. Yukti, you can start the presentation.
So yeah, I hope my screen is visible, and yeah, we'll just get started. So I think you might have had, the complete a little gist of how Abir, started his project by, using his just fingers as, a recognition to, draw some stuff in a visual reality, right? So it is kind of interesting, like how we see those things happening in movies and stuff, and seeing it done through a Python simplest project is really interesting, right? So yeah, so this is about today's session. This is week 2 Friday, and speakers for today's session are Abir and myself. Uh, so we'll go through the abstract of the project. I hope the screen is visible, right?
Yes, it is visible. Yes, it is visible.
Yeah, so everyone. So I'll just go through the abstract of what this project actually is and what technologies we have used, right? So what we have done is we have, basically like all the computer vision project work, they work upon, OpenCV, NumPy kind of modules, right? So these are the basic building characters of how we start working on our projects when we start doing OpenCV, right? So these are the basic pillars. And then what we have done is we have integrated this project using, Raspberry Pi, and also using a good quality camera, because a normal basic camera does not capture all your movements, and obviously there is a little issue with all the output that comes. So yeah, try to do that, use a good camera. And this is what the technologies we have been using for our project. We will be telling more about it in further, but this is the basic idea of the project. Also, yeah, so as you can see in the image, also like Abir showed you like a few minutes ago, we have a few options above. We have named a few colors, to change, show a bit change in the project. We have also added a clear up symbol, wherein you can just clear all these things. So in like some games you play like Scribble or something on your laptop, that you can just do it in virtual reality. And what all you need is just Python, Raspberry Pi, and a good camera, and that is how your simple basic project is ready, right? Also there can be so what objective of our project is, what we want to do with this is basically, firstly, as Abir showed starting, pencil and create a virtual dimension in which we will be adding and like kind of painting stuff, or maybe writing notes and stuff. So that is the main point, and we want to start with that stuff. And what we are thinking further with the project, we are thinking creating it with AR, VR, augmented reality and virtual reality, and making it more further. We can add more, virtual gamings and stuff with this when we integrate it with Python and computer vision, right? So this is something we are been, thinking of doing further. And where we can use this project is that we can use it in virtual drawings. We can write notes. Also, when there is some webinars or meetings that you can just use your fingers, and you can just just write stuff just in the air. It's as simple as it is, right? So what we have used is we have used basic hardware devices. These are the three components which are used for a good resolution kind of project. But when you get started, I think your basic Python and your basic webcam in the laptop are fine. But let's just know what these hardware devices are. The first is Raspberry Pi board. Now why we use Raspberry Pi board is that when you I mean, obviously it is kind of it added a bit of expense, but obviously as I told you, in starting you can just use it simple a webcam and Python and a program and just get started. But it adds more resolution, it adds more clarity, and you don't have the mumbling thing you have when you're using a normal Jupyter notebook or something. So these few hardware devices really enhance your project. Secondly, we can use Pi TFT device. It is a display screen, and furtherly we have been using Raspberry Pi camera. So these are few things you can keep in note if you would like to enhance your project, right? Yeah. So now we'll go through the novelty of our project. Novelty of our project basically is to state, what is the different, what is different from, all the different models that are also like air canvas models are presently actually there, people have also written research paper and stuff. But novelty of our project are a few pointers that we wanted to state, and what makes it different from those projects, right? Yeah. So we basically, what we want to state is that we have used some, specific colored pointers to start our project with, right? And then we have also used, different colors to, signify and also, distinguish between one point to another and not make it clumsy and messy. Okay. And also we have added a clear all screen wherein you can, you don't have to, always, check in stuff, and also we could have added a save screen. We'll be doing it further. So when you just get started first, I think these are the basic things that you can just get started with, and you can simply take that project to another level by simply enhancing 2 or 3 more components to it. So this is what we want to do till by now, right? So save contents that are written on the aid canvas for future references, as I told you. And also we don't have to always check the program if it's running. If it's not, you just have to tap an enter key and your project will start, and it will also end once you want to. So there will be no managing of stuff of first I have to check the project and then I have to change the code or something like that. So you don't have to worry, it's just a one time process. You're supposed to write the code in the code part further, and then you just have to get into the project, right? Now variety of all these pointers that I have mentioned, that is from all the existing projects that. So now we also want to discuss what are the existing projects that are really like not too close to our project, but there are some research papers as well, I guess. So I'll just mention what different it is from our project. So firstly, when we started our project, so we actually, added this Raspberry Pi and Pi camera, to basically, change the level of our project, to change, the dimensions of how it captures, the finger pointers that we and everything. And when we did that, obviously, the result was amazing than from what we started with a random, simple setup of laptop and webcam and the program. But I think everyone should just start using Raspberry Pi models also. They are really good. They I think kind of smoothens the effect of the output that you really want to have. And obviously it's it is to achieve the hands free drawing program without always checking in the program and everything. Yeah, so we will be, I mean, you can pictures, right? So these are all the basic basic things how you start your project and how your output will be known as, right? Now it is I'll go to the purpose, what is the purpose of the project and how we have achieved doing this. We'll be going through the technological stuff through Abir. He'll be telling us. Okay, so what we want to do is we actually want to use this thing as always. I mean, you just don't want to have a book and a pen always. You can just write in it. It's as easy as it is, right? So it is you have a different collection of colors. You have a symbol to just save it all, and that is what it is. So it is kind of just at your fingertips, right? You don't have to worry always and always and check into it. So now many people might be having why should we use Python, right? Any answers if you would like to give, just get into the chat box. I think I'll give a 2-minute break right now.
Yukti, also reshare your screen. I guess it's stuck now. Just reshare your screen once more.
Okay. Is it with everyone?
Yes, it's with everyone. Just reshare your screen once.
Now? Hello?
Mm, yes, now it's okay.
Okay. Anyone just, mention in the chat if you have issues. Like, I'll be checking in. Like, cut me out, okay, Abir?
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. I hope you have mentioned a few things. I mean, you must be knowing, like, why we would be using Python, right? And I hope you also have written in chat. I'll check out that later, obviously. So let me just point out why Python. Okay, so why would we use Python to start with? Okay, firstly, to function computer vision, Python is the basic most language you want to use that, and plus the libraries and the modules that Python gives you and the Python creators, enable us. That is something which just hypes up the project. And obviously, once you start computer vision, I think OpenCV and NumPy are the tools to start with. And we just started, I think, is to start with. I think everyone should, learn Python. I mean, all the fields of Python. PyGames are amazing as well, and all the different ML and AI fields also. So now I think the doubt of why using Python is clear, and I think yeah. Okay, so I think at this point I want to hand over to Abir to explain algorithmic approach to our project and everything. Over to you, Abir.
Okay, thank you, Yukti. And I guess I'm audible. Hello?
Yes, you're audible.
Yes,
Yeah,
perfect.
okay. Yeah.
Perfect. Someone just muted. I don't know. Anyway, so now that we have heard from Yukti about the details, we now understand what the project is all about and what are we going to go through with this project. What have we aimed before we started making this project? Okay, so algorithmic approach. Now, before we dive into any project, it's the basic functionality, or it's the basic way of approaching to a problem is finding its correct algorithm. There can be multiple ways to approach a problem, but we need to find the best way to approach the problem. So for now, not saying that this is the best approach for this particular project, because we can have further better approaches as well. But for now, considering the laptop's webcam in mind, this is the approach that we could find feasible and suitable for us. Okay, so firstly, the step one was to start reading the frames and convert the captured frames into HSV color space. When we dive into the code part, you'll see how I am doing it step by step, whatever we are writing here in terms of processes. Okay, so there we firstly convert all the frames into HSV. Yet again, something which you guys have done in the initial sessions of computer vision week, and we have covered of RGB, BGR, HSV, and also in the Kahoot session quiz, you had the question about HSV. So I guess that part is pretty clear for you to understand what HSV is actually. Still, if you guys have any doubt, you can put it in the chat box. We'll go through it. But still, that is what we are looking for. Firstly, we need to convert it frame by frame into HSV. The step two is to prepare the canvas frame and put the respective ink buttons on it. So as you remember, in the starting only I showed the output of the project. It has all the buttons there, and we can just hover over the buttons to get the outputs. So that is the simplest thing that we are. So the step two is to make those buttons in the right places for us to make it accessible throughout the program, and also we need to name them. Now, step three is adjust the track bar values for finding the mask of the colored marker. Okay, so now the marker that we are using, because the webcam is not that of a strength. Okay, so we cannot do the complete object detection on the fingertips. It might not be able to detect. We all know that our laptop webcams have relatively a lesser megapixel. So we cannot have everything detected so easily. Even though you might obtain some lags and all those things while you are, going through over the project or any other project of computer vision that you are running on your laptops. So that is something that might hinder at times. But keeping that aside, we use a color marker. The color marker will be easy for an object detection. So that is why we use it. We can move to the next slide. Still not visible.
Now is it okay?
Now it's visible. Yes. Okay. See. Now step 4 is to pre-process the mask with morphological operations, eroding and dilation. Okay. Now eroding and dilation. Firstly, we need to. These are the two concepts that we'll be using alongside whatever the real-time systems that we are using in terms of the camera and all. So eroding and dilation will help you get a better clarity of the images. Why do we need better clarity of images? We need better clarity because while you are hovering over, you are changing the positions continuously. Because they have to, as we all know, in the previous sessions we have discussed how NumPy deals with the positions of our each frame and then it displays in terms of a video, right? So for every change in position, we need to have some precision. The reason why we'll get, okay, the reason why it will be easy for us to write on air and get the necessary outputs. For those precision, eroding and dilation is what we'll consider while we are coding it, right? Now moving on to the step 5, that is detect the contours, find the center coordinates of the largest contour and keep storing them in the array for successive frames, arrays for drawing points on canvas. Now again, the next part comes is the object detection part. Someone already mentioned it, that what are the basic concepts that we'll be covering. So object detection now comes in, wherein the color marker will be considered to be as a contour. Now, how will you? What do you think that how will the camera understand what to take over? Because while we are writing, okay, if my camera is on, I don't know if it's visible to everyone or not, but I can just tell you what I'm meaning here. While we are writing, our hand comes in front of our body, and the pen that we are using, the marker that we are using, it comes frontmost. Okay, now in geographical maps, in +2 or even before, when we had geography in our syllabus, we did understand contours. The irregular surfaces, the topmost part or the outermost surface is what the contour is. So now the camera is detecting the topmost outermost part. So what is the topmost outermost part for the camera? The part which is closest to the camera, right? So the part that is closest to the camera will be the contour that will be considered, and we'll have a circle around it, and that will be our object detection. I guess I'm clear with this. I'll again go over it while we are discussing contours during coding, but for now, just understand that contour is the outermost surface, as we have studied previously in geography, and that outermost surface is the way that I told you now. Like our body is behind, our hand is in front of our body, and the colored marker is closest to the camera. So that's why that contour will be considered. That is the reason of the closest part that we are considering here. Okay. This is how the camera is working in the background. The code is working in the background in case of our object detection. Or else it can detect anything and everything that is around you. Like obviously you won't have a plain background always wherever you're using the camera. So it is just finding the sharpmost contour, and thereby it is allowing you to do the object detection. And while you hover around, it is just following the path and making lines, nothing else. Finally, draw points stored in an array on the frames and canvas. Okay, so now this image is pretty self-explanatory. I showed you in the previous the output also. So it's just moving around, and it is just following the contour. And with the array subpoints or the NumPy that is working in the background, it is displaying the necessary color that you have chosen. That is the total algorithmic approach that we are going with. We can move to the next slide. I guess it's not visible again.
Just a second, yeah.
Fine. Basically, this will be our algorithmic approach throughout the coding process. So we'll go step by step. I'll even mention while I'm coding that what algorithm that we are using there. So it's pretty sequential, as I said previously. And even if you have any doubts regarding the algorithm, you can put in the chat box by the time she's sharing the screen. I'm open to doubts now. I can share the screen, Yukti, if you are having any issues.
Just Just a second, yeah. I'm making someone else do.
Yes, I got a doubt from Pratham Sandeep. Yes, Pratham, as it detects the, yes, obviously it is obviously working on pointed pens. But the point is that the first irregular surface that is sharp enough. Okay. Like what will you find? I'll tell you one more thing. This kind of an insight that at the end of the project you guys will be facing this issue, that at times what happens is because our laptop's camera is pretty weak. We all know that, right? So at times what will happen is the wrinkles on your t-shirt will also be caught. Okay. At times it happens, and you will see that there's a continuous bounce from the tip of the pen to your wrinkles. There's a continuous bounce, so it is difficult while you're working with the laptop camera. So the computer vision projects, while we are working with the laptop camera, is like just that we want that the code is running or not. While we are finally implementing these codes in terms of applications or some real world softwares, we usually tend to use the webcams. The people who use webcams, the external webcams that they apply in the in the laptops or their PCs, they have a much better output whenever it is coming to computer vision. Right? Anyway, the computer vision is nothing but something that is dealing with the real world scenario, something which is dealing with the visual world, right? So once something's dealing with the visual world, how does humans find it easy to deal with the visual world? Because of the eyes. If the eyes are faulty, if the eyes cannot see to a certain distance, you need to make changes on those. You need to wear a spectacle, you need to wear lenses. Unless the eyes are clear, the visual world won't work. And for the computer systems, the eyes are the camera. So the better the camera, better will it work. That is something that you'll face using the laptop cameras. But I can assure you that once you're through with the code, you understand the code, you are about to implement in an application, you'll get better cameras, and with the better cameras, the outputs are smooth. That's an assurance that I can tell you. I guess I'll share the screen because there must be some network issue from Yukti's end.
Yeah, please go on.
I'll just share the screen. Do assure whether it's visible or not.
Yes, it's visible.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
fine.
it's good.
Fine. So this is the SS of the working code that I showed you in the starting only. Okay. Other than that, the technologies that we used in the project. Firstly, very basic. Without that, you won't be able to work currently with Python. It's the open source library of Python, that is OpenCV, to deal with the computer vision projects. It helps to recognize the pointer finger. It also helps you understand everything. My video is disabled. Okay. Now, mapping coordinates extracted from hand recognition software to Pygame to produce a drawing. Okay. So the coordinates important again. We need to understand the coordinates. We need, because that is how it will move from one point to the other, making a trace of where your hand or the pointed object is moving. And the mapping coordinates extracted from hand recognition software. Okay, it's the same point. Moving on, it's like the input and output screen. Yet again, I have showed you this previously. Fourth point on this is also including feature to save the content that is being displayed on the screen. Now, this is a feature that is currently unavailable in this software. Open to all the people who are attending the session who will be learning how to create this air canvas. If you get any ideas on saving what is displayed on the screen, do contact us, do work hard on it, because we'll keep it as an open source contribution to you for AI Club. So our GitHub page will be open to your open source contribution, and we would definitely like to help, like your help in this. We are also working on the same. But if you get an idea to save the contents, whatever we are displaying on the screen, whatever drawing or whatever writing we are doing, it will be great, and we'll be working on it together. You can have doubts, you can have your ideas, come up to us, we can work on it together. Okay, can act as a major assistant. So if this is functioning, like except for the part of explanation in seminars and stuff, if this is particularly functioning, then it can act as a major assistant to the ones giving lectures, explaining concepts, also handling long meetings. Often in meetings, we know, like when you're conducting meetings, there are some points that you cannot just say out loud. You need somewhere to just scribble and tell them, right? Maybe a figure, maybe some writing, something, maybe some short form abbreviations, right? So that is something that often we face. And now that the era has changed, we are into COVID times, we need to have these online lectures, we need to have these online webinars. That is one thing that will definitely be an assistant, because unnecessarily opening another, then sharing the screen, it all becomes a mess. If we can directly do it on our screens, we can add these features in our Google Meets or either Microsoft Teams, whatever platform we are using. It's easy to go. That's what we aim to make it. So above all, the era of social distancing, this software can definitely be of unlimited usage in varying sectors. So this is the object detection in real. Is the final output as I've shown you. Now I'll hand it over to Yukti to take over the real-time usage.
Yeah, till the time, check into the chat, Abir. We have a doubt. Hello.
He says you can take over. I guess the screen's visible, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, we'll just get to the last part of our, theory part, and just we'll, dive into the coding interesting part, and you will be, learning a lot about how we start working on a project so interesting, how you can just, scribble into the air, just as we say, and make it really happen, right? So what we firstly, have in mind as an application of using this project, right? We can obviously use it as making notes and stuff. We can explain it in webinars. We can also say it like a virtual drawing kind of thing also, right? And there are many more parameters. We can use it in entertainment industry also. Like we can also just wander around like Jarvis, and if you have seen Iron Man, he just does some stuff in the air and stuff. You can do the same too, right? It's that interesting. So now we'll get into the limitations of our project, right? Ambir, next slide. Yeah. Okay. So obviously our project seems to be really good and stuff, and I mean we also have some upgradation from all the existing projects and stuff. But we also have a few limitations, and we'll also tell how we can back up through that, how we can install more stuff and overcome it all. So yeah. So what are issues is that firstly the frame rate has an issue of processing the image and stuff. It is kind of slow and stuff. If you have seen when we were presenting it, though we used Raspberry Pi models and stuff, but obviously it also wants to have more processing time and stuff, which requires more hardware and stuff. That can obviously kind of cost a bit, and it can obviously fluctuate. So that is kind of a limitation that we have, right? And nextly, Abid, next slide. Yeah. And also a few more stuff is that we have our existing projects and stuff also, but when we use it in Python, obviously it allows the simplicity of the project to remain. But also when we have added Raspberry Pi and camera and stuff, it is easily available, right? And obviously the program is also not so difficult and stuff, but also we have to have some more device equipment like Arduino and stuff. So that kind of fluctuates. And obviously, as you see in the image, it is shown. Sometimes the hand recognition that the OpenCV captures kind of has a issue with that. We have to have more data set attached. I guess that is the solution to that. So that the issue of capturing the hand recognition does not give an issue. And I think from here we are to our end of our PPT. We are to end of our theory pointers that we wanted to state beforehand. And now we'll just dive into our coding part. Okay. So we'll just open our Jupyter notebook now.
Yes, you can open a Jupyter notebooks, and we are taking a 5 minutes break before starting the coding part.
Just code along with us. And also I
Yes.
have sent the link in the chat box if you want to check out side by side. So please shortly just do that. I've sent the link.
It's like we won't be writing completely throughout because it will take a lot of time by then. So we'll just take snippets and just take part by part. And any doubts you are having might be like it might go a bit fast.
Yeah, we have 2 to 3 minutes, guys. Abir, just present it. And
Yes.
just update all your doubts and stuff till the time we'll try to clear it in the chat or just explain you in the meeting, right?
Okay, so we are taking a break of 4 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Everyone, let's take this opportunity to refill our bottles and stretch a little. And if there are any doubts, then do drop them in the chat box. And this one is unscripted, even though none of the events said no that I'm going to say this, but like I want to share with all of you what I wrote while I was thinking about our results today and today's session. I'm quoting directly from what I wrote. Today, we got our results. I know that there are some of you who feel wrong because you worked hard and gave the paper honestly, but still didn't get the desired results because some people decided to use unfair means to score. And I feel for you, I'm one of you. But at the same time, I'm not angry at those who cheated. What I feel is that us being here proves that we are more than the CGPA could ever convey. So today, when this session ends, take an essay with us, upload it on your LinkedIn, and prove to everyone that you are serious, hardworking, and have the drive to succeed. That instead of sulking or sleeping, you decided to expand your knowledge. And please, everyone, don't take it wrong. I'm not asking for a protest. Instead, I want you to show the world that you are interested in making yourself better. I'm also grateful to the club and college, and at the same time, apologize for taking their platform to say all this. None of them, literally, none of them knew that I am going to say something like this. Thank you.
I hope everyone's get started, right?
Yes, we can start, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes, and thank you, Anushka, for mentioning that. It's really important and it was wonderfully placed. Moving on to the code. I guess my screen's visible.
Yeah.
It's visible?
Let's get started.
Okay, so let's for the very first thing, let's just like I've mentioned the objectives and the proposed algorithm, just for clarity. Let's just like you with the exclamation mark, you can check whether you have the installed libraries or not. So just going by to check whether the libraries are installed for us or not. And to get this as the output, you can be rest assured that you have these libraries installed already.
Yeah. Shall I go through it then? Okay, so we'll just get started. You have the link to the GitHub account of AI Club. You can just check in and check through our meeting also. So startingly, you can just check out what we have written in the objective. I'll just read it out to you. The basic goal of AI Canvas is to map the coordinates of the user's pointer finger to the screen, obviously using our object deduction method, where our colored circles are drawn and connected to the simulate and using a crude brushstroke just by our hand, right? So that is about it. We have a six-step algorithmic approach to it. You can just check it out. We have covered it up in the PPT along with Abir. So we just don't want to repeat it and waste your time. So yeah, the basic three libraries and modules that we want to start here of our Python project of Air Canvas are NumPy, OpenCV, and Collection. So these are, the installing process. You can use your command prompt and just install it ASAP. I mean, it'll take a bit of time, but I guess hang in there. And those who have just have these all modules, just go along with us, right? So basically, I just mentioned. I mean, you might have known all simple procedures how to import all our libraries, right? Import NumPy as NP and import CV2 and everything. I'll just mention what particular library is used for, right? When we use NumPy is basically to track our faces and the coordinates of our face and map it up, right? It more of side is into the mathematical terms, right? And now when we talk about OpenCV has the work of tracking our faces, recognizing it and stuff. That work goes to OpenCV and computer vision. It is a basic computer vision library, right? And now what collection is, when we have started to train our model, we have obviously used a lot of hand recognition data and everything, to point how we use our finger and how it becomes a brushstroke and everything. So for that, we obviously, the basic point was to learn about hand recognition. we didn't want to go that into the theory because obviously it is almost as how we start with face detection and eye detection, and we just thought you would be pretty pumped up and bored about it. So now the collection module, obviously it obviously keeps a container of all the data set that we have used, our hands and everything, and it stores it up. Okay, so these are the main three libraries that we have, and just we go through it and all. Now I think it is obviously pretty clear, right, how you just import NumPy as NP, and you have three other libraries to go through, and that is how you just import your libraries into your project, right? So these are the first thing you start when you start a project, an OpenCV project, right, a computer vision project. Yeah. After this, what we start to do is we start to create a function. Okay, the function to track all our finger movements, right? We set a function. You must know how a function works in Python, if you know the basic, right? Abhi, could you scroll down? Okay. Yeah.
It is visible.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is. Okay. So when we have defined our function, what we want to use is we have mentioned a track bar function that is obviously to track, right? So these track bars are will be using, right, for setting our upper and lower ranges of our HSV required for our particular color. If you have listened to what Abhi started, is the step one obviously was to locating all the HSV that is required for a particular color, right? You have to mention what color details you want and everything, and then you check out, you tell them all, right? Okay, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so initially we
So
mentioned you that we are going to
open
convert
path.
these. Yes, we are going to convert these frames into HSV because that is what we are dealing with. And also, if you remember the three outputs that we received in the beginning, the three outputs, one of it had a mask output and it was a completely black screen. So it was like judging our movements, and that is how HSV works. It actually works on movements. It actually works on, even most of you have heard about the heat maps. Heat maps are nothing but the HSVs, right? So it judging the movement, judging the temperatures, judging the contours. That is what the HSV is dealing with. So that is the reason why we have to convert it in HSV. Okay. Now moving on to the next part of our code deals with this. So giving is the different arrays to handle color points of different colors. So we have four colors, and we are creating four double-ended queues of max length 1024 pixel length. So these arrays will hold the points of a particular color in the array, which will further be used to draw on canvas. Okay, so these are nothing but the double-ended queues. Collection will help you form double-ended queues. Queues are nothing but a type of data structure, right? So the way we store data, the way we manipulate data, the way we use data. So Q is one of those, right? So we have the B point, G points, R points, and Y points. These are the four colors, points for the four colors, right? Now we just initialize these indexes. These indexes will be used to mark positions of the pointers in color array. So a color array is formed with the help of the DQ, where the points will be stored for each and every color. And now we'll have the indexes initialized to 0 so that it can store the necessary amount of values. Now the kernel to be used for dilation purposes for the NP1s are used so that we expand it to the perfect lengths and we get the precision and the accuracy so that the images that are formed or that we can see are clear enough for us to understand. Firstly, next we move on the colors which will be used as ink. Okay. Now we know RGB frames. There are the three frames. For red, R is 255, 0, 0, G 0, 255, 0, and then B is that is blue 0, 0, 255. Okay, and now to obtain the yellow color, we have to keep G and blue. When we mix green and blue, we get the yellow color. That is the point. Okay, so these colors are nothing. These are the numbers for each and every color, and we are initializing because we want them as our inks, the ones we saw, right? That is the reason why we are keeping it. The next part comes is the setup of the canvas. So canvas, obviously we know from painting, the people who draw, they are well versed with the term canvas. Canvas is something where we draw on. We need a surface to draw something, and canvas is nothing, which is the surface. So even in case of virtual drawing, we need a canvas. For that, we are creating the canvas, and np.zeros, I guess you have already covered previously in our sessions, wherein it creates the windows. Obviously, we know that zeros and ones are the ones that deal the computer system. So it is doing nothing but creating the window for us. Okay, and we have named the window as paint. Okay. Very first thing that I asked you, what are the concepts that we are going to cover? The very first thing is video capture. So one of you already mentioned previously that it's the video capture that we have to do, and it is the first and foremost thing. We switch on our camera to go forth with it. So that is the default code to switch on our camera. Yet again, something that you have done in the very first session of ours. Now is what we start. We start our first while loop. Okay, because we are working in real-time systems. Keep in mind, when we work in real-time system, we work on loops because we want something to go on and on until we ask it to stop, right? So for that, what is the best thing that we can? What is the best and simplest thing that we can use? It's the loops. Okay, so we go until while is true. Correct? Okay, so we go until while is true, then we start reading it frame by frame. Every video is made up of n number of frames. Whenever we deal with any particular video or a real-time system, we consider one frame at a time. So this ret comma frame cap.read is doing nothing but reading every particular frame of the video of the real-time system. Every frame is nothing but a single still image. Okay, multiple still images when put together makes a video. Okay, and when they move in a particular rate, frame rate. So we capture a particular frame at one point of time. Yet again, we discussed that we have to convert our frames to HSV. We are converting our real-time frames into HSV. Every frame gets converted into the HSV one. Again, something that you have already done, cv2.cvt color. cv2.color is underscore BGR to HSV. That is, you have already done RGB BGR and HSV being one more. Okay, so that is one more thing that you have already done. So I'm not getting into the details of it. I hope you are understanding what we are going with. Okay, now we get the updated positions of the track bar and setting the HSV values. So we have set the track bars above. I guess you can see this. We have already created the track bars by cv2.create track bar. Now we are just putting the values. We are placing the values of track bar so that we can go ahead with the values, with the HSV values, and then we can get whatever our desired outputs are. So we have to the track bars that we have set already. We are giving them values. We are giving them some variable names so that it is easily trackable. Okay. Now moving on to the frames. Adding the colored buttons, the live frame for color access. Next thing, the first output screen that we saw, you saw there are 5 buttons on top. One is the clear button, red, green, yellow, blue. Okay, these are the 5 buttons that we have to create. So we create frames, rectangular frames for the 5 buttons. These are nothing but the coordinates. Okay, now we have used the certain coordinates. You can manipulate, change the coordinates as in what you feel like. But these are the coordinates that we have chosen so that we have the screen, rest of the part for us to see the screen as well. So these are nothing constants. Okay, this syntax remains the constant part, but this part where I have written the numbers, it is not constant. You can have it changed according to your will. Okay, and now the next part is you guys have seen that inside the buttons, that the rectangular buttons that we have created, we have put texts. Right? So those texts are being put using this. So we have the clear all text being put, we have the blue, we have the green, we have the red and yellow text being put there. Okay. So this is nothing but the syntax, and the font that we have used is Hershey's Simplex. So that is again what we have mentioned while putting this. It's nothing different. Mask. Next up is the mask. As I said, we had 3 screens as output. One screen was mask. Mask is doing nothing. It is just keeping a track of where your contour, the topmost contour or the pen tip or whatever you're using as the object that is detected moving. That is the first and the foremost thing that your mask is doing, and it is dealing with nothing else. You can omit the part of mask also, just that because we are in the starter phase and we are trying to understand the air canvas. We are not here to just build the application of air canvas. We are here to understand what the air canvas is and what it is working on. That's the only reason we are dealing with the mask, and we want the mask to be displayed. Unless if you do not care about the mask thing, it is no big deal. It is just telling you where your pen pointer is going, nothing else. Okay. And now, as I've mentioned previously, the first approach is to understand the contours. Okay. Now this part, it is actually determining all the contours. Okay, it is finding the numerous contours that are visible on your camera screen. So you have a camera screen, you have your backgrounds, you're wearing something, you have something in your hand, you have your earphones. It is detecting all the contours. Okay. Then we go with a conditional statement. Okay. The conditional statement says that if the contours are formed, at times there might not be any contours. If it's a flat surface, if nothing is in front of the camera, it's just the plain wall or anything of that sort, you will have no contours formed. In that case, this whole program will go down the drain. We don't want that. So we have contours formed because the most important thing is the pen the marker that you have in your hand, you want it to detect that. That is your first and foremost contour. Other than that, the other contours will be just unwanted, disruptions to your code, but it will definitely have contours. If it does not have contours, the code might not work. That is the conditional statement that we are using. Okay. Now moving on, what we put inside the conditional statement. Okay. I guess it's twice it came. Right. So it's now sorting the contours to find the biggest. Now, what I told you previously about the contours, contours is something, this is an irregular outermost surface, right? So the outermost surface needs to be detected. That is what we aim to, and that is what our aim is, that we want the marker's outermost surface to be detected, right? So the biggest contour that will be found is sorted first. Okay. At times, with the low quality of the camera, you might not get that. Yes, your pen, the marker that you are holding, you want that contour, it might not catch that because of the low quality of the camera, but it surely will if the quality of the camera is somewhat good. If your room's lighting is good, lighting, another thing which is important, helps your camera work pretty efficiently. Okay, so if everything is good, we get find the biggest contour. Okay, and then once we have the biggest contour, we get a circle around it. You might have noticed the yellow colored circle that we have around the marker that I had previously when I showed you the code. So we have the circle around the contour, and this is how we have the circle around the contour. Nothing, but it is giving us the assurance that it has detected the right thing. We wanted to detect the contour, we wanted to detect the marker of our pen, and it is detecting, and it is encircling it around in the yellow color. Yet again 0, 255, 255 displays the yellow color of it. And hence we get to understand that yes, our system's running, our code is running, and we have the marker encircled around. Okay. The next part is hovering over. Okay, now we'll hover over our necessary outputs. Like we kept the marker on top of the color yellow, we kept the marker on top of the color red, and we get the red color. Okay, so for that, it is now we're checking if the user wants to click on any button above the screen. Okay, so the buttons that are present on the screen, we are not using the mouse to click them. We are just hovering over it. And when we are placing our contour, which has the encircled circle over it, when we are placing it on it, it automatically gets checked. Okay, so we have already initialized these values. We have the indexes ready so that whenever we are placing the button on top of it, we get it checked. Okay, and it gets clicked automatically. So that is what our aim is. Okay, now what are the color indexes? We need to initialize these indexes, right? We have initialized it to 0. Now that we want the outputs, we need to initialize it further so that we get the correct output. Okay, so whenever it's on blue, we want the color blue, right? So whenever the contour is reaching our blue rectangle or the blue frame that we have on top of the screen, whenever it's reaching it, it needs to catch blue. Hence, these elif statements will allow you to get your colors selected, and then whenever you are hovering over the screen, you get that particular color. So this is just doing nothing but initializing your indexes that you have previously initialized to 0 to the said color. Now we have a else statement also for this. The else statement, it goes like if the color index is equal to 0, so B points get appended to left. If it's equal to 1, so you might have seen previously where I have initialized these, and we have initialized it as colors equal to 0, color 1, color 2, color 3. So these are the arrays. Okay, so the blue frame got the number 0, the green frame got the number 1, the red frame got it 2, and the yellow one got it 3. So first we are initializing these blue index, green index to the said number of it. And once it is initialized, we are checking whether yes, whatever we have selected is getting used in our program or not. That comes under the else statement. Okay. Now we have to append the DQs because we have initialized the double-ended queues. So we need to append them now. So we append the next DQs when nothing is detected to avoid messing up. So when nothing is detected, we do not want something that our code assumes and that our user does not want. So to avoid that, we use this else part and we append it to the double-ended queue that we are using. Okay, so we initialize the blue index, we increment the blue index by 1 or the green index or the red index when nothing is detected. Suppose we are using the blue index, say for example, and now we are hovering over on the screen, we are getting the blue ink, but we are not touching any of the 3 buttons. Automatically the G points, R points, and the Y points will get appended to 1 so that it does not hamper our code. So suddenly you don't see that while you're using blue, suddenly it changes color to red or green or blue. That is the reason for this else statement. Okay, now the next part is we need to draw, right? So again, one thing that we have previously done with CV, that how to draw using CVs, the loops that we use and the length points that we use, and CV2.line and CV2.line with paint window and frame window. Okay, so CV2.line help us draw using CV. Okay, now that we have the points detected, now that we know that the contour is something that will guide us through our project, okay, guide us through whatever we are making, whatever we are drawing, the lines or whatever the scribbles that we are doing, that now it is the time where we allow our drawing purpose to go on. Now, what we have done previously in drawing is we haven't done it in real time. The only difference with our project and the drawing project that you did previously is that it wasn't in real time. You were just setting the path, you were just giving the commands, and you were just giving the numbers, and the line or the circle or the triangle or the rectangle, whatever you are creating, is coming up on the screen. It is not on real time. Real time allows you to do whatever you want to do when your camera is on, when it's live. I hope I'm making myself clear. So once we have all these points settled, the B, G, R, and Y points settled, we run the for loops and we allow us to draw automatically on the basis of the points that our contour is hovering over. The whole screen is divided into multiple matrices, to be very precise, numbers. Okay, every part is a coordinate. Every point on the screen is a coordinate. So when our contour is detecting a particular point, it is detecting a coordinate. And then when it's moving, it is covering a set of coordinates. So our task is that the particular color that the user has chosen by hovering over the frame box, it will just use that particular color to join all the coordinates over which our contour has hovered over. Okay, so that is the main aim of drawing. So wherever our contour goes, whichever coordinate our contour passes on, it just gives the necessary output. Okay. Now the next part is we need to display all our screens, whatever screens that we have initialized, we'll display them. Okay, so these are nothing, these are the showing of all the windows. We have 3 windows. One is the tracking window, one is the paint window, and another is the mask window, right? So these are the 3 windows that we are using. And yet again, one more thing that we need to, as I said, that we are in the true while loop. Okay, as long as the while loop is true, we need to break the loop. How will we break the loop? Like if we press the Q key in our keyboards, it automatically stops. So this particular cvt.wait key 1 0xff. So this is something which you have all done previously while you are doing the real-time systems and the videos part and also the live camera. So we have done this previously. We are just doing, and we are just destroying all the windows in the end. The code is a tad lengthy, but I guess I went through it pretty fast. But I want you all to have your concepts clear. Even if you could not type along with me, it's no big deal. I just want the concepts clear, that how we have gone from this proposed algorithmic approach for the project from step 1 to step 6 in terms of the code using Python. Most of the codes that I have used over here, you have already done previously. Okay, we can just try and run it once if we are able to, or we can just do one thing. I guess we are able to run it. Yes, I'll share my screen again. I've just shared one window. Okay, share my screen again to see the output for the final time, and I'll explain the output as well. I hope it's visible. Let's check out. There's some network issue. Reason I'm unable to show it. I guess we have gone through the code completely. So I don't think so. There might be any fallacies while I've been displaying the code during the network. I guess some network issues happening now. Anyway, so I'll take on this, time to take all the doubts from you all, because I've went on it continuously and I did not stop in between. And also the code, the part that you could not see, yet again, Yukti has given it in the chat box. I'll send it once more in the chat box so that you can, get your code from here, this link. I will take on the doubts now because we have covered the code completely, and that is the code. There's no amendments in the code. And guys, you can come up with your doubts.
There seems to be no doubt, I guess.
Okay, so we can
Guys,
wind
just
session.
don't shy.
Yes. Even if you have any of the silliest of doubts, we can go forth with it because all of us are starters here. And yet again, I told you there's one feature that we were discussing previously also about saving the contents. So if you at all get any idea on the same, do come up with us. We are open to open source. AI Club has always promoted open source. So we'll definitely like to see any open source contributions from your end. I don't find any doubts yet. We'll wind up the session then.
Yeah. Okay, over to you, narrators. Just conclude the session. It's been long time actually. Argish and Anushka.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much, speakers. It was an amazing session. Wait a second. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining us today. I presume the past 2 weeks were very educational and insightful, and by now, computer vision must have become a part of your plethora of interests. Anushka, are we missing out on something?
Yes, Sarkesh, we are. But before I make the announcement, I think all of us should open our camera and take a photo. Amber and all the others who want to open the camera, please open. So does I've taken the SS and share it. So yes, we are. You all must be thinking that it's a goodbye, it's the last session. Well, it's not. We have a guest speaker coming up this Sunday. It's going to be a surprise. So all of you stay tuned because you don't really want to miss this one. And that's all for today, and we are signing off.